Bloomberg Audio Studios. Podcasts, radio, news.
The Stock Movers Report, your roundup of companies making moves in the stock market, harnessing the power of Bloomberg data.
I'm Tim Stanovac along with Carol Masser. Let's take a look at some stocks on the move.
We're talking about Intel, which rallied this on a story on how the Trump administration is set to be in talks with Intel to have the U.S. government potentially take a stake in the company. And this seen as maybe helping support Intel's efforts to expand domestic manufacturing. Now, this deal would help shore up Intel's planned factory hub in Ohio. This is according to people familiar with the plan, who said the idea is for the U.S. government to pay for the stake. And we know that Intel has been going through working on a turnaround, cutting costs, cutting workers, cutting jobs. And it also comes at a time that we know President Trump was critical of the CEO of Intel, Lip-Bu-Tan. They had a meeting and the president seemed to be more impressed.
Yeah, a week ago today, he was calling for his ouster.
Exactly. And then changing really his tone. And then we have this story. Again, nothing is a done deal, but this is, again, some of the reporting.
The story, the byline, Ryan Gould, Josh Wingrove, and Leanna Baker. Ryan Gould is in here from our deals team. He's deals reporter for Bloomberg News.
Wait,
First of all,
can I just say, wait, what?
I mean, yeah, seriously, what a time to be alive, I guess.
It's shocking.
It's really a headline. It's quite a statement. I think let's just recap. So Intel shares jumped as much as 8% on this headline that the Trump administration is said to be discussing taking a stake in Intel. I mean, let's just be clear. This is kind of unprecedented. I mean, we kind of saw an example with MP Materials that you guys just talked about a short while ago. But I mean, if you think about how we if you're an investment banker or a deals lawyer and you think about, a company that's been in trouble and is looking to rebuild, did you think that the US government would be a source of outside capital to help you, as part of the toolkit to help this company rebuild? I'm not sure many people did. And here we are, we're looking at, talks that could help Intel rebuild not only its manufacturing presence, but toward a specific area, which is the Ohio plant that even under the former CEO, Pat Gelsinger, was kind of seen as a very, very key part of making Intel great again.
I thought they were pulling back on the Ohio plant. That's what we learned just in recent weeks, recent months from the company's latest report.
That's true. And I think if you listen to Lip-Bu-Tan, Intel CEO...
who visited the White House this week.
He did just days ago on the most recent Intel earnings call. He made it quite clear that this is about sort of right-sizing the house, looking inward.
So how would a deal like this work? I mean, we spoke to Jim Litinsky at MP Materials about the Department of Defense's $400 million investment. And that's certainly, I feel like, Carol, we're referencing that interview all the time now, whether we're talking about
we grilled him
industrial
about
policy or we're talking about rare earths. I mean, I think the question that I have is, what would an investment from the United States look like? What control would they have? And is money enough to turn Intel around?
I think the way to probably best think about this, and this is based on some conversations that I've had with people who are very in the know, I think if you were to be the US government putting in an X billion-dollar stake or X% stake into Intel as an equity investment.
That's how high you think it could be?
I mean, there's every degree. We don't know yet. We don't yet know. These are very early stages still. And it's important to note that the White House nor Intel has really commented on the specifics of this. I mean, Intel went as far to say that they are in early stage talks with the government. But, I mean, there are no details here.
What did you learn about the conversation between President Trump and Intel CEO Lip-Bu-Tan? Because you saw the social afterwards, right, from the president.
But then the social before from the president, that was really critical of him.
Very critical, right? And then afterwards, it was like, good conversation, interesting background. What happened there?
I think that's I'd love to have been a fly on the wall in that room. From what I can tell, based on people that I've spoken to, I think it was a very constructive conversation between the two sides. I think there's a lot of respect from the president's part as to what Intel is trying to do under Lip-Bu-Tan. And let's face it, I think if you take a step back and think about who Lip-Bu-Tan is, he's a very, very successful, very accomplished man who really understands how semiconductors work. This is a man who sat on the board of Intel and understood some of the challenges it was facing around manufacturing long before these became apparent in our headlines.
Think about what we were talking about. I wasn't here, Carol, but this story came out a week ago. You were talking about it on air. Here's the post from President Trump just a week ago.
Yeah.
The CEO of Intel is highly conflicted and must resign immediately. There's no other solution to this problem. Thank you for your attention. to this matter.
That's why I'm curious, like the turnaround. And then we saw it after the meeting. So if it takes 10 steps to get this done, where are we in that process? If indeed this happens. But where would you say we are? Are we on step 1, step 2, step 0.5? I
think just given that, and you mentioned the Truth Social posts that the president made, there were conversations that were going to happen this week with Commerce, with Treasury. I mean, Scott Bessent was here yesterday. He's involved in these conversations. Howard Lutnick at Commerce is involved in these conversations. This is a government-wide discussion.
So is it 3 steps in, 4 steps in?
Carol, I think it's really hard to tell. I think based on where we're at, and I think Intel says it's early stage, I think it's probably toward the beginning.
Do investors, I'm stuck on this line in your story, the move turned conventional wisdom on its head among investors, analysts, industry executives, and even longtime government officials in terms of how private industry has dealt with the government. That's with regard to MP materials investment. Do we need to understand, and do investors need to understand, that this is a new era when it comes to government involvement in companies?
For sure, without a doubt, because this is not just MP materials. This is U.S. Steel. To think about what the government did with the golden share in U.S. Steel. This is a new age for investment in private industry. When I say private industry, I just mean outside government. And I think this is we're here to witness it.
The Stock Movers Report from Bloomberg Radio. Check back with us throughout the day for the latest roundup of companies making news on Wall Street. And for the latest market-moving headlines, listen to Bloomberg Radio live. Catch us on YouTube, Bloomberg.com, and on Apple CarPlay and Android Auto with the Bloomberg Business app.